Okay, so Tips and Tricks Tuesday. Today our discussion is going to be about the elliptical. The elliptical is funny because it seems it is a wise choice for people with joint issues or chronic pain in certain areas such as the hips or the low back. And in fact, it is highly recommended by chiropractors and doctors alike because it is seemingly low impact. However, as you can see from this video, when we look at the elliptical and we look at the motion of the elliptical, does it look like something that we do in our everyday lives? Does it look like something that we can duplicate or replicate if we didn't have a machine? And of course, that is a big no. It is not something that is necessarily natural to our bodies. And if you're looking at this girl who's riding the elliptical very vigorously, you'll notice that her leg actually stops short of what we call hip extension. So when we're walking in proper gait, one leg is forward in hip flexion and one leg is back in hip extension. And when we're on the elliptical, we actually don't get hip extension. That leg stops short and doesn't actually go behind the midline of the body. So all we're getting is forward flexion with both legs. And what this can do is overactivate a muscle called psoas as well as our hip flexor muscles. And so for a lot of people, we are already very overactive in these muscle groups, especially if you do sit for a living. And then we're going to add strength on top of that by hopping onto an elliptical, because oftentimes we do the elliptical with resistance. That's what sort of gives us the calorie burn, so to speak, and helps us work up to a sweat. So we are sitting all day possibly, or we already have tight hip flexors, and then we're jumping on a machine that is promoting hip flexion over and over and over again. So over time, this can actually increase our hip pain, increase our low back pain, increase our knee pain, or if we didn't have issues in those areas, it can cause those issues as well. So if you are an elliptical rider, I would suggest to get off of the elliptical ASAP. And I would also recommend more functional movement choices, which we'll talk about. But functional movement choices are things that we do in our everyday life. So for example, walking, running, hiking, or stairs. These are all things that we need to sort of perform in our daily life. So the treadmill or walking on pavement is ideal. Hiking, as well as swimming is also a functional movement choice. Running, if you enjoy running. These are all choices that we would prefer over the elliptical.